Hello everyone and welcome back to a brand new video of Fox Flicks on Popcross Studios. Today we're checking out his turning Minecraft mobs into fantasy monsters, and the mobs in question are from the 2022 mob vote. If you don't know what that is, it's pretty much like Mojang is giving us, the players, three choices to add into the game. The one with the highest vote will win. But let's see what they look like as fantasy monsters.
Last year was the first time
Take it
I
over,
ever
Chris.
learned about Minecraft's annual mob vote, where they make 3 new potential mobs and let their community vote on which one gets added into the game. After last year's when the LA won, I used that as a prompt to start my series of Minecraft mobs as superheroes. But this year, I was ahead of the curve. I knew the vote was coming, so as soon as they announced the 3 potential options, I started planning this video right here. So
And
today
boom.
I'm going to take the 3 potential mobs and turn them into fantasy monsters in my series of Minecraft mobs as fantasy monsters. So let's get into it, shall we? Let's go!
Let's check out
Hit
these
like
fantasy
if you want,
mobs.
subscribe if you feel like, but either way, enjoy the show.
Always do, Chris.
Commonly when I've visited the mining colony isles, I've followed or...
Whoops, sorry. Let me just... There you go. Now you guys can see the mob over there. It's some kind of golem.
been guided by the captain of the island guard, Stephen the Bold. On my latest return, however, I went seeking 2 explorers I'd just recently read about. They were called Lady Agnes and Sir Jens, who'd lived on the colony isles for decades studying the creatures and terrain. I hoped
Makes
they
sense.
could enlighten me further about more of the beasts to be found on these mysterious isles. They lived off in the
Makes
mountains
sense.
and only occasionally interacted with the surrounding villages, so it took some time
Wonder
to
why.
locate their home. But when I finally spotted their isolated log cabin, I was immediately faced
maybe
with
they
a
just want a
creature I'd
peaceful,
never seen on
life.
the Isles before. Though one that resembled somewhat the Iron Guard Sentinels, golems built to protect the
Iron
villages.
Golem.
The stone golem that I saw here was much smaller, standing at roughly 5 feet tall. It wore a red and yellow skirt and held out before it a red scarf, above which was floating a top hat. Admittedly, I would
Ooh.
have believed it to be some form of statue if its head hadn't turned briefly in my direction upon my arrival before settling back into a resting
Okay,
state.
I'm intrigued.
Upon meeting Agnes and Jens and telling them of my reason for visiting, I noticed that they had many more of these golems, holding forth various household items and articles of clothing. They informed me that these were household tote golems. They used to be more common on the Isles, and many homes would have them to simply hold or carry items around for their masters, but the combination
okay,
of
now that makes
spells and
sense.
forging materials to create them had been lost some time ago.
And
The ones
there we
in
go.
and
Damn
around
it.
their cabin were ones they'd found over the years, exploring abandoned homes of the Isles. Jens and Agnes were in the process of trying to recover or rediscover the formula. Thus far, all they'd found was that the creatures were carved from tuff, a form of rock made from condensed volcanic ash. Beyond that, they
Okay,
hadn't
that's
yet had
interesting.
much luck. Still, they seemed confident that they could once more make them a common part of life on the Isles, and their optimism
just
had
take some
me
time and
fairly
effort.
convinced. Now, one thing you might notice pretty quickly from this first drawing and this episode in general, that the quote-unquote monsters I'm making aren't so monstery this time around. Obviously, in past episodes of Minecraft mobs as fantasy monsters, I could pick a variety of different mobs to use, some that are a bit more
these ones are
menacing, some
peaceful
hostile
mobs.
ones, some that are on the more friendly side. With this one, obviously, I was very happy to do this topic using the ones for the vote, but that meant I was limited to the ones from the vote, which aren't
Which just makes
particularly
sense.
hostile or monstery. Anyway, I was really excited to do this one and have it kind of standing outside of a house, have the house kind of off to the side like a cabin. I thought about having it
just
inside
fits.
and having it in front of a window so we can still have a nice naturey environment in behind it. But at the end of the day, I
think
was just
going
kind of
outside was
like,
actually
I
the
like
better
this
call.
idea of having it standing next to a house. We can still have a bit of the log cabin in there, and it also helps give this creature a sense of scale. One other thing you'll likely notice if you saw
Fits.
the animations for the Tough Golem is that it kind of like lifts up its skirt to carry things around, and that in the context of the cartoony style animation that they made for it with a very simple style, and in the context of Minecraft would probably look fine, but making a
Yeah.
sort of more fleshed out not realistic, but more realistic looking creature, I thought it was going to look kind of weird having this thing kind of like flipping up its skirt to hold stuff. It would almost look like
really
it's
wouldn't have
flashing
walked
people
like
or something.
that.
So I just decided, okay, let's add a scarf that it holds out over its hands above
I think
which
that's
stuff
actually
is
better.
levitating. I'm very happy with this piece. It's, like I said, not a monstery one. It's a little bit more peaceful and serene, but that was kind of a nice
It's a
change of
docile
pace.
entity. Not bad. I like it.
After having tea and exchanging
the
some
sniffle.
tales of our research and adventures, Lady Agnes and Sir
I think that's what
Jens
it's called.
informed me of another creature that once roamed these lands in abundance. It was a species long thought to be extinct, but around 3 years ago, they'd found a preserved egg of one of these creatures
Yes.
at the bottom of a lake and managed to help it hatch. They brought me farther up the mountain to where the creature now roamed. It appeared to me somewhat like a blend of a wild boar and a dragon turtle, though more calm and peaceful
I
than
could see that.
either of those specific beasts. From feet to the peak of its shell, it stood roughly 7 feet tall, though they claimed
Wow.
it was likely to reach 12 feet when fully grown. They called it the Sniffing Terraria Pin. It was a peaceful beast that wandered the hills smelling
wait,
for
Terrapin,
seeds, then
Terrapin.
digging them up and moving them
Isn't
to
that like
another
the most
location
common
where it
name
believed
of
the
like a
plants more
species of
likely
turtle
to thrive
or
as
tortoise?
they grew. The creatures essentially acted like gardeners for the whole of the Isles, and when they weren't working to help the forests and foliage flourish, they were simply smelling the flowers or napping in the warm daylight sun.
Such
The creature
peaceful
certainly
creatures.
looked as though it could have been dangerous if its instincts drove it to be so, but more likely I imagined if threatened, the creature would simply tuck itself into its moss-coated shell to stay
Aw.
safe. Agnes informed me
peaceful
that they
cutie.
were eagerly searching for more eggs, hoping to revitalize this species and once more establish them as a mainstay of the Isles. Though
Oh,
only
totally.
time would tell if this would be possible. I certainly hoped for their success. Now, the Sniffer is my personal favorite of the three mob
it is
options,
called a
though I am a
Sniffle.
fan of all
Okay.
three of them and would be happy with any of them winning. But this was the drawing I did first because, as I said, it's my favorite, but also the fact
Makes
that
sense.
it's the one that I felt like I could lean into being the most monstrous. But even with that in mind, as I started drawing it, I was thinking about making it a little bit more menacing looking, but it just didn't really feel right. Once I gave it the droopy eyes and a little bit of a grin, I was like,
Yeah,
you know
this
what, I can
thing
make
is
this a
not
bit more
gonna
of a
be
peaceful creature.
violent at
I
all.
had genuinely thought about making all three of these into more monstrous and horrifying creatures,
Yeah, that could
but
be
I was
cool
just
to
like,
see.
you know what, let's lean into the peaceful side of this a little bit. As referenced in the lore, I was taking inspiration from designs of dragon turtles, looking at images of wild hogs and wild boars,
It
and then
all
I was
fits
also
and
looking at
works.
images of Galapagos tortoises, kind of seeing how their skin moved and how their different parts had different kinds of scaly bits. And I think those all helped
I
to
can
flesh
understand
this
that.
out into the creature it
I mean,
ends
it
up
is
being,
kinda like
which
a
I'm quite happy
tunnel
with. One thing that I
dragon
think could have been
bull
nice is since I've got
thing.
that dug hole in front of it, having a bit of dirt falling off its face, because in the animations for this one they show that it digs its face into the ground to dig holes and look for seeds, but
Just like
once
a
I was
bull.
well into the rendering stage and thought about adding that, having the dirt kind of dripping off it, I was just kind of like, I've already got a fair amount of texture on its face. I think that's just going to muddy it up too much, so I decided to
Probably
just
it
leave
would have
out.
been
And
a
I
little much.
think that was the right call, even if it could have added a little bit more extra movement to the piece. Overall, I'm very pleased with this fun, droopy-eyed, cute little sniffer guy, and I hope you all like it as well.
a nice one. Love the sniffle. Ooh, I wonder if you can ride on its back, like with a saddle on it. That could be cool.
Quick little interruption to say that all three of
Oop.
the drawings from today's episode will be added as posters to the Popcross Studios Teespring store.
Oh,
We've got
well, that's
lots of
great
other
to hear.
posters on there, as well as a whole bunch of ink bundles if you want to color some of my work. Even got some t-shirts, the odd sticker. It'll be linked in the description
nice.
and in the little bar beneath this video. Go poking around if, you feel like it.
Why not? We're back.
Upon learning of their efforts to return the
Oh,
Sniffing
and here we are,
Terraria
the
pin
final
and
one.
the household tote golems to prominence, I asked if there were any other creatures Sir Jens and Lady Agnes were actively working towards the recovery of. In response, they guided me to an old mine near their home that was rarely used anymore, though if you sought through its tunnels far enough, you could connect into some of the currently active mines. After
most
searching
likely.
through for about 20
This will take
minutes,
some
we
time.
spotted a green creature perched up on some rocks. My hand met the hilt of my blade on instinct, but they assured me this creature would not harm us. Immediately after we sighted it, it
Wait,
ran
are
off
you making
deeper
it
into the mines.
female?
We kept after it, finding it knelt between a stead of stalagmites before it ran off once more. They claimed this was perfectly normal behavior, and we
Nope,
kept
now
after
the face
it.
looks more
Finally, we
monster-like.
found the creature clinging from a stalactite above, but this time it dropped down and approached us. It was a creature that was heavily humanoid in appearance, despite its obvious oddities. It had seaweed-like foliage growing from its head, green fur coating much of its body, and digitigrade legs that ended in hoofed feet. But
Nice.
it also carried with it a large old backpack. It approached us and pulled from its bag an item that should not have been able to fit in the bag so easily. It was a pickaxe with purple lightning
Just like
sparking
anything
off of
inside
it.
the Minecraft
Agnes and
inventory.
Jens told me I could take it, that it was a gift. They told me this creature was the Rascallian Mountain Gifter. It was a being
Oh,
they
the
discovered
Gifter.
searching through these caves that they were still uncertain if it had been part of a full species at some point or if it was a unique mystical individual. Anytime they had sought after it and
interesting.
found the creature 3 times in a row, it would then pull an enchanted item from its bag and grant it to them. The creature
Nice.
could not speak and had a very playful and mischievous demeanor, so it was difficult to keep it still long enough to study it, but they were
Well, not
determined
bad.
to decipher its history and origins.
Seems like an interesting
The 3
beast.
creatures I saw on this journey to the Isles were currently the main focus of Lady Agnes and Sir Jens's time, but they extended a warm, open-ended invitation for me to return any time to see what new discoveries they'd made and what new creatures or regions they'd turn to studying next.
I like the gift though.
Now with this one, the thing I was most excited to do was the lighting for it, because I knew I could have some fun with it based on the animation that I was referencing for the Rascal. In the little animation they did for it as a potential mob to be voted on, it pulls a glowing purple pickaxe out of its backpack. So I thought,
Because
well,
it's
that's
enchanted.
perfect, I'll use a glowing purple pickaxe as the lighting source for the piece. I knew that would end up making it a little bit like the lighting in the Warden drawing that I did in the last Minecraft Mobs as Fantasy Monsters episode,
Looks
only
cool.
it was being lit by its stomach. I think the lighting worked out a little bit better in the Warden drawing than in this one, or not necessarily better, it was
maybe.
just a little bit more interesting. I feel like I gave this one a little bit too much ambient light, which I think I put in to make sure this creature, you know, wasn't too coated in shadow and hidden
Damn,
away, especially
pickaxe
because
is
it's not
glowing up
supposed to
a
be a more
storm.
menacing kind of one. So I think the lighting ends up just looking a little bit more generic than exciting, but I don't think that ruins the piece or anything. It just, you know, wasn't quite what I thought was going to
Oh
happen
yeah, it's
going
not
into
bad
it.
at all.
I was still quite pleased with
love
this
it.
one. I wasn't sure exactly how I wanted to texture it. You can see that I gave it the digitigrade legs, the, you know, bendy backwards wolf, horse, whatever kind of legs. I also added a tail to it just to give it a
You just
few
gave it
more
a goat
monstery
little
kind
hat.
of qualities.
Oh,
and
it's a
not just have it
saddle.
be some green
You made it a
person that wanders
satyr.
around in the
Nice.
caves. And overall, while this piece doesn't, like, wow me or anything, I am pretty pleased with it. Think it's a good one to end this video on. Let's take a look.
It's like an inner mountain goat satyr. Love it. Inner mountain goat.
Quick heads up that tomorrow, Saturday, October 15th at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time,
Well,
I'm going
this
to be
video
doing a
has now
live
been
Discord
tagged.
event with some of the mods of the Popcross community. We'll be chatting and doing some Q&A questions, and if you want to participate, you can join the Discord linked in the description. Maybe I'll see you there. Oh, this was a pretty fun excuse to dip back into the Minecraft Mobs as Fantasy Monsters series, which honestly I wasn't
Oh,
sure
yeah,
was going to
this
get a
was
4th
good.
episode, but, you know, now I'm thinking, hey, maybe even a 5th episode? Give me some suggestions in the comments of other mobs you'd like
maybe.
to see turned into monsters. Maybe
I'd have to
even
watch
ones
back on
from
the other
previous
videos to see what
votes
you've
that
already
lost
done.
the vote. And of course, if you're new to the channel and you like stuff like this, I'd recommend checking out the previous episodes of Minecraft Mobs as Fantasy Monsters. Got 3 of those. Or I've also got 3 episodes of Minecraft Mobs as superheroes and supervillains. But besides that, that's all
Okay.
for today, except of course for ending this video on some kind of positive or inspiring note. And the thought I want to leave people with today is the
Well, it
idea
gives to know
that
I'm gonna fix
every
my camera.
challenge we're faced with presents an
go.
opportunity for growth and transformation. I've personally been reminded about that over the last week and a half or so because Popcross Studios has received a massive influx of fake views and subscribers, that I have no idea where they're coming from, and it's making it difficult for me to determine what videos are actually doing well and which ones are just getting the fake views, and I don't know when these fake views and subscribers are gonna stop coming in. Honestly, I don't know what exactly lessons I'm going to learn from this situation yet, because I'm still deep in it now, but I'm going through it reminding myself that every challenge I've faced in my life before, while it may have been a bit frustrating in the moment, has ultimately made me better. And there has always been some kind of positive long-term outcome. Going through anything with that kind of mentality makes it that much more manageable. I hope that's inspiring to someone out there. Thanks so much for watching, all of you real viewers and subscribers, because I know there are lots of you out there. I love you all, and I'll see you all in the next episode on Monday. Goodbye.
Alright folks, and with that, well, that is where we're going to end off today's episode. So, I want you all to remember to like, comment, and subscribe for more. And I'll see all you folks next time when we flick on. Peace out.